Good afternoon again, everyone. So welcome to our last GT Tuesday of the 2021 school year. Hopefully everyone is enjoying their summer break and that you are having a productive time, either on vacation or those last couple of weeks before you officially go on break. Some of you might start this week. Um, So we'll go ahead and get started. It's not a lengthy agenda today, but I wanted to remind you of the special populations mission statement. We are here to equip school systems to increase awareness, promote equitable access, and improve outcomes for all special populations. So that is our goal. That is what we're working for. And today's agenda, as I said, is not lengthy. I'll give you some updates. Kind of will touch some legislative actions. And then hopefully some of you will be willing to share out some of your what's happening in your district, what you've done over the school year that you're wanting to celebrate and to share with the group. And then also some question and answers. And then we do have a guest today. So that will be a part of our conversations. So as you know, just kind of wrapping up, our COVID numbers have decreased, or have a slight increase, but so students increased about 2,000, but not quite. And then teachers 431. So really thinking about everyone's being safe out there, doing well. So wellness check, how y'all doing out there? How is everyone doing? Is everyone on spring break? Spring break. Here I go again. Meetings breaks don't fit right. But on summer break, or are you still in the office? Just put it in the chat. I know my ESC people are in the office, but I know some of you are on summer break. What's some of those great things that you're doing or you're planning to go? So hopefully still in the office. Yeah, that's one of those things that happen when you move up out of the classrooms, like there's no break, but almost there. 2 more days. That sounds good. That does sound good. Hopefully you do get a chance to have a short break around, for those who are still in the office, around 4th of July. And then if not, do take some time for yourselves, even if, or if you're doing those 4-day weeks, just take it slow, take it easy. I remember those 4-day weeks, 7 to 6. All right. So just knowing that our guidance is out there, they are still updating those guidance pieces. So these are the web links to get to the main page of our COVID-19 guidance. We still have our instructional continuity information, and then we still have our special populations info that is available out there. And as you know, today is the last one of our GT Tuesdays. So next year we will be doing this again. Hopefully I can get a little more audience participation and get some more of you on schedule to share what you're doing in your districts. And then if you have a topic you would like to talk about, put it in the chat or send me an email. We will definitely look forward to addressing that, adding in, and then really looking at how we want to do GT Tuesday. This is the time for planning and to thoughts. So really looking forward to our next go round. Be the 3rd year. Wow. So as you know, our guidance is up there that from earlier this year on the FAQ as we went into COVID-19, and then our Start Strong for beginning of the school year. Some of that information is also available on other parts of the website. And then as we move to the next system, we'll be looking at to see how we can put that in other places so that this guidance, a lot of it is good, straightforward guidance for any time of the year. So, and not just under a pandemic or a special crisis. So yes, love secondary services, yes. You know, as a person who had a middle school program, that is a lot of questions on what to do with your secondary, and really looking at that and how do we include that in our programs. And so definitely, Francis, Teresa, we can really talk about that next year, is really looking at that and getting into that. Hopefully you're getting our announcements. So I will ask that you, if you do not sign up at our Gov Delivery site, so you can always sign up for your newsletters. Also follow TEA on Twitter and on actually Facebook and LinkedIn, and then you'll get sometimes you'll get some announcements about we're trying to do better with our own publicity, especially in our department, and really making sure the word gets out. So really hoping that you can join us and share the word. So as you know, our state definition, and we're looking at those gifted and talented students who show or perform at that potential, and really looking at that high performance capability in the intellectual, creative, or artistic. So as you know, a lot of you are defining your students through general intellect and really looking at how does that happen, and then looking at that capacity for leadership, and then adding in that specific academic field. So maybe a part of next year is really looking at some of those opportunities for leadership, and then looking at how we can build those pieces into our programs, but then also looking at our secondary programs. So I can definitely do that. And then our state goal for gifted and talented, and we're looking at how do our students demonstrate those skills in self-directed learning, thinking, research, and communication, as evidenced by their own development of innovative products and performances, and really looking at how does that happen. And then how are we ensuring that our graduates are participating in those program services as we go forth, and what does that look like? And so as we go into our next phase, I know this is where everyone's really wanting to hear and wanting to know. So I'm just going to put a caveat out there. We are still analyzing these bills. And so really looking at the last minute changes, those conference committee up reports, the fiscal notes, and the bill analysis, just to make sure that we have total comprehension. So please be on the watch. Probably when we come back and when we start up our GT Tuesdays, we'll get deeper into what does this actually mean, and what do these bills, how we expect them to impact our work and to impact the things that we're going for. So this is just really high level of basically what the bill is about, kind of giving you a little bit more info. Basically with House Bill 1525, which, and this is just the overall pieces of it. It was really kind of claimed as a cleanup from HB3 from the prior legislative session. And so really it extends the Reading Academy. So as you know, Reading Academies have, they will end 22-23 now. So extended that. It restored the GT allotment. It came out as a different allotment. We'll talk about that in a minute. It did update the CTE funding. It updated a fast growth allotment, and then it really added some more funding into comp ed, especially for our homeless kids. And then really looking at bonuses for those students who are earning an associate degree. And then looking at a resource campus, really what does that mean, and then how we create that. And then included funding that you can reimburse, increases technology purchases reimbursements. And then, but it also added in new funding for some COVID support, COVID-19. As you know, as we come out, really looking at that PTEC, but then looking at learning acceleration supports, and then tutoring, and then reimbursement for districts and other that are not federally funded for some of those other activities. And then some reimbursements for our experience with Uri, that learner storm that took us out for a moment. So on the GT allotment, when we look at that with, so basically it's an annual allotment equal to the basic allotment multiplied by 0.07. That's where we are. It's capped at 5%. It must be used and provided in GT programming. You must still account for those expenditures of state funds, and it must refund the allotment if the district fails to implement a GT program. So this is what House Bill 1525 did for the allotment. So it did change up some things. We'll be working with the commissioner and leadership to finalize and some of the details and some other pieces of this. But if you have questions, as you know, as we did the prior year, please send those questions in. We will definitely get those fine-tuned and then get out clear guidance, as I said, before the school year started. And so one thing I think everyone also wants to know, when does this comes in effect? This is actually September 1st, 2021. So it does go in effect this upcoming school year. So the other bill that everyone's kind of wondering and questioning about, well, not this one, but there's another one. House Bill 3643 on the Commission on Virtual Education. I included this one in our conversation is so that you will be aware that there is an opportunity, as this is a new commission. There are to look at the delivery of virtual education and then the state funding for virtual education. I know as we talked about it at our last meeting, some of you were considering adding in that component for your DT students and really looking at how you can offer gifted and talented education through those services. So it's going to be a 13-member commission appointed by the governor, the lieutenant governor, the state leader of the House, and then also school board. And then there's an opportunity for classroom teachers, administrators, and community members. So there's opportunities for someone in the gifted ed community to serve on this commission to also make sure that that you can get your interests shared and the awareness out there. So just something to think about as you go forward. House Bill 3976, where is the development of a civic essential knowledge and skills added into the social studies curriculum. And then also with the social studies courses that in the required curriculum, a teacher may not be compelled to discuss particular current events or widely debated or currently controversial issues of public policy or social affairs. It limits on grades or course credit for social or public policy advocacy, and it requires to engage in training that represents any form of race or sex stereotyping or blame based on race or sex. So those are some of the, the very general kind of things of this bill and what it does. We're going to copy that one over. Oh, also adds in, a district may not accept private funding for the development of curriculum or professional development, and it may not implement, interpret, or enforce any rules or student code of conduct in a manner that may result in the punishment of a student for discussing or having a chilling effect on student discussion of the concepts. So it really, this will probably come more out of our curriculum department. So we'll be watching and then seeing how they will address these issues and what further guidance and what further rules may come out of that. So that leads us to our first question and answer session. So anyone has a question, any wonderings, you can put it in the chat, or you can come off mute and ask a question.
Monica, with the GT allotment,
Yes.
that we have to use funding on GT programming, is that the same as it used to be? on services and identification?
So yes, you will have to use it on GT program services, identification. You can also do curriculum pieces, professional development. So those things will still follow that.
Okay, thank you.
And we will probably also come up with clearer guidance also on that piece. So yeah, but I know y'all like to know what specifically can we spend our money on. Yes. All right, Diane.
Yes, ma'am. Quick question about the allotment. Is it going to come off of our summer PEMS or off the snapshot in October? Do we know?
So typically with the funding, they use the snapshot of October. Yeah, summer PEMS is too late to be figuring out the funding. So yes, it will be coming off with snapshot. So also want you to be aware, and we'll get further details. It did repeal section 29.25 out of Texas Education Code, which was some of the rules that affected what we did this year. Some of those things will still be in place. Certain things will change, but as I said, we will, when I come back in August, once we have all of the details and all of the minutia of this figured out and outlined, I will give you clearer definitions in what we're doing and how finance will be approaching certain pieces of this also. Other questions? All right. So, I know you're going to come back in a little bit. So Lauren Cano question, has the number of GT projects that students are required to complete in a school year changed? That is still a local district decision. That is not a state decision. That is a local district decision. The bill where that was being addressed was House Bill 1302, I want to say, and 1303. I think it was 1302 that would move the furthest. Did not move forward in either in the House or off the floor. So that actually did not go any further. So that is still a local district decision. So a local district can determine how many projects they want to have a school year. So that leaves that to you. And I see my friend is on, Paulina Van Eden Hill. So before we do any other district share outs, I would like to give Taggett the floor if they would like to, TAGT, they have anything they would like to share upcoming. Paulina.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great June. I was just listening to Monica, and yeah, we're still in the same boat as Monica. In fact, we're doing a lot of the work together to analyze the bills and try to figure out what guidance you all need and what needs to come from the agency and what needs to come from us. And so I would echo Monica's request. If you do have specific questions, great question around PEMS snapshots and all of that, definitely send those in. And if you want to copy me on your questions to Monica, her and I can work on divvying out those things. Of course, the legal stuff is going to come from Monica, and we can provide a little bit more squishy guidance than TEA can. So my email is paulina@txgifted.org. And then just to clarify, House Bill 1525, the repeal, the code number is 24.129, and those were the House Bill 3 amendments we worked on in 2019. But we are still working very closely with Monica and the team at TEA to make sure that we can keep a lot of that work that we've done around, certification and being able to share the great work your program is doing with the state. So more to come on that. Allison, to your point, that's, I think, a question for Monica, but it's something that as a commissioners advisory council, we're working on actively.
All right.
Non-related to legislative, I'll just give a quick plug because I know it's a question we've gotten a lot in the last couple of months, but we are planning an in-person gift ed experience in Dallas, December 1st through 3rd. We'll be at the Hilton Anatole, and we'll have a virtual option available for folks who can't travel, but we are looking forward to gathering again and learning together. So mark your calendars there. We'll release all the registration information you need in August. So keep an eye out. If you don't get our emails, let me know, paulina@txgifted.org. You should get those. And we had a legislative series that hopefully you've been getting. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, email me and we'll get you added to the list and we'll get you membership information as well. But please definitely mark your calendar for that because we're really pumped to get back together.
Thank you. So I see a couple of questions. So Allison, so right now I can definitely say the program activities that we have already in place for certification, identification and serving your students, identifying your program, and then using your program intent code 21 will still be in place. As you know, we were working on, and it's actually with leadership at this time, the certification framework that would, or fidelity instrument that will say how you're implementing your program. That is the next step. So that will probably be more of a commissioner decision. Do we move to that next step or not? We're really promoting that we do. But as I said, that might be, you might consider something different, or it may look a little bit different. Those have not been determined. I will say it that way. But it is in place. It has been working on, and so we still have our 3. Hopefully, moving to our 4th and probably our final piece to this as we move forward. So I hope that. But thank you for that question. That will help lead some other goals and conversations. So on the guidance, starting a GT advisory group. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions, Lisa. Are you looking for just a general response now, or you want further guidance as a entire GT Tuesday? Let's go that way. And you can just put it in the chat or. So going back, okay. So Lisa will like a document. Okay. So we can definitely put, actually can put it on, keep adding it into our guidelines, our best practices document that's on the website now and add it there. So basically the ADA allotment, the PEEM snapshot, it will be from 2020. Yes, or the October PEEM snapshot that they use for that. But I will also get further clarification and make sure that it's there. And so as we get these questions, as we pull out these questions and we get ready to develop this FAQ document, definitely will make sure that it is sent out to you and then also posted. So don't worry about it. It will be September when you get the response. So got it. So does anyone want to share before we I keep moving about their programs, anything that they're doing, any district share outs they want to take a moment to share? Silence. Okay. I have another opportunity, so think about it as we go in, as we keep moving, but I will have another opportunity for you. So just a couple of reminders also for you is think about, I know that a lot of you send out placement letters of either GT placement or non-placement. So, because I've started getting my emails. So please check your emails for parent responses. That's all I'm going to say. Before you go on vacation or directly after, so that they can have a quick response, or at least know that it has been read and responded to, or something's going to happen. And then think about turnover. I know this is the season. A lot of people have retired. Some people are looking for other positions, or they're moving up in leadership. And so really think about turnover as they change over. And then if you are a new GT coordinator, welcome to the GT platform. Feel free to reach out to myself, or and then I also want to say that TAGT has a coordinators meeting, a group, so that if you really just want some other support, some more information, those we're all here to help you, and your ESC contact is here to help you. And then also, as we get back into, once you come back off your break or while you're working, start kind of fine tune those cross-department relationships, working with your administrators, your finance, or your budget teams, to really kind of clean up, really tighten up and heighten the awareness for GT. And as we continue to do this work, always looking to find a partner, a friend, an associate that can help support you, because I know sometimes we are the afterthought, but so you can get your little, get some shoe-ins and some step-ins in different places. So I did update the ESC contacts. I will be putting this on the website, but everyone's here. We do have a few retirees this year that are retiring from GT, and that will be changing over. I know Region 18, Cherie Smith is retiring, and Region 15, Tori Clay is retiring. Angela Johnson in 18 will be replacing her. Tori, I believe, we have not heard specifically yet. So just thinking about that, take those as we go into the process, as we go into the new year, we'll make sure that this is updated for you also. And then I just wanted to kind of remind you of what we kind of covered this year. So we've talked about professional learning, curriculum with Carnegie Learning. I hope some of you did take an opportunity to review, give some input on that. Talking about your GT programs, really thinking about how do you communicate that process. Looking at your data, especially how do you use that to, one, drive your evaluation, and then looking at how does that help with your programming, and then looking at your students. Always CPSP, performance standards, and I think and next year we'll get a little more deeper in some of those performance standards, and then really looking at our secondary program options. I know that was kind of high level, but kind of looking at what are some of those others. And then if you want to highlight your secondary programs, reach out, because we will probably start in that realm next year. And then instructional groupings, and then another Q&A with me, that was December. And then we had many different sessions on the FAQ, kind of broke that up as we went into it, and then looking at identification in those different measures. So know that all of those are on the website. They will stay there, they will be there, and actually also on the YouTube playlist. So feel free to reach out to use any of that information as we go into the upcoming school year. So my next piece is a group called, look it up, Parent Powered Ready 4K. And so they are here. They're going to give us a little information on their program, their services, Lorena and Corinne. And I think Corinne is going to be our spokesperson today. Yep. So I'm going to stop sharing, or do you want me to share what I have on screen, Corinne?
Yeah, actually, that would be, if you don't mind being my slide master. There's only 4 slides total. So
I can be the slide master. Yep. I can be slide master. There we go.
So thank you so much, Monica, for the introduction and for inviting me and Lorena to join. I'm Curran Mahowald, Partnerships Manager at Parent Powered, which is the company that makes the Ready for K program that we're about to tell you about. Lorena, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lorena Cernette. I am new to the Parent Proud organization. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships, and I am happy to meet all of you. Thanks for your time today, and we look forward to answering any questions you may have. In fact, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll be monitoring that so that we can get you answers. So thank you.
Perfect. All right. So Ready for K is a family engagement curriculum that's delivered via text messages. It builds on several years of research led by our founder, Dr. Ben York, during his time at Stanford University. And our team created the Ready for K program because we believe that all parents want to support their child's learning, but they don't always know where to begin, or they only receive resources that are overwhelming or difficult to access. So the goal with Ready for K is to show parents and caregivers how fun and easy it is to support their child's learning. And I'll also note that we have created many custom programs throughout our time, but what you're about to see is just kind of an overview of our main approach. We'll talk a little bit more about our evidence base, using text messaging to communicate with families, which may be something you all are familiar with, maybe not. Really curious to hear how that sounds to you all and what family engagement efforts have looked like so far. And we know that you all have a goal of helping parents to get involved in their child's learning with respect to the projects and that program that you all have specifically in Texas. So I'm curious always to learn more about that and to see how this might fit into your work. Next slide, please. Perfect. So the way that we make getting involved in your child's learning and development easier is to text parents specific and actionable tips for bringing learning into everyday routines. So each week of text messages within the Ready for K program focuses on a different age-appropriate skill related to academic or pre-academic domains. The content for Ready for K, which is created in-house by former educators, is leveled for every age from birth through 4th grade. So I think for you all, we'd be looking at the kindergarten through 4th grade range, and there is Ready for K content for all of that. So a parent of a kindergartner would get different messages from a parent of a 2nd grader, etc. Ready for K Core is the name of our flagship program, and it covers math, literacy, social emotional learning, and a few more domains through a whole child curriculum. This curriculum is aligned to the Head Start Early Learning Outcome Framework, as well as all 50 state standards. The core program is available in the languages you're seeing here: English, Spanish, Arabic, Vietnamese, Russian, and Chinese. That's our core, our flagship program. Like I said, we've created a lot of different programs to respond to different needs over the years. And so we also have a personalized learning program that's available to provide a learning experience responding to each child's unique developmental needs. This would mainly be for your kindergarten students, probably. The ASQ only goes up through about 5.5 years, but just keep that in mind. That's a really effective program if you ever want to look into that. And then our trauma-informed program gives extra support to help families navigate challenge and adversity. And as it says on the slide, builds those 5 protective factors, if you're familiar with the Strengthening Families framework, to be really supportive for families who have experienced ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, but really just any family navigating challenge and adversity, which unfortunately is most families coming out of a pandemic and that awful storm that you all experienced in Texas. I was down in Tennessee at the time, so was kind of getting part of that. But yeah, so we really aim to create programs that fit all families. Our vision is to help all families be involved in their child's education and give their children the best start, the best results in school, and access to easy to use parenting resources, regardless of income, regardless of language status. So that's why we have our program available in all these languages, and we're really focused on equity and access, and we know you all are too as Texas educators. Next slide, please. Perfect. So with 4 randomized controlled trials out for publication, I mentioned we're an evidence-based program. We actually have the strongest evidence base in the field of digital parenting supports. So to quickly summarize some key findings from that initial RCT, children whose parents received the program messages demonstrated 2 to 3 months of learning gains over the course of 1 school year. In addition, parents were more involved in home and school, as reported by teachers who were blind to the randomization of the study. And finally, parents and caregivers in the study reported that they enjoyed receiving the messages and putting them into practice. So always great to have a program that works for children and for parents, and they feel empowered, they feel involved, everyone's happy. So most of our school partners, in terms of implementation, our school partners who use Ready for K or districts, we work with folks at a lot of different levels, will simply upload a roster of parent phone numbers to their online Ready for K portal, which I can talk more about if you're interested, but super easy technology platform to kind of manage the program from. And these schools and other programs that we work with have their program up and running within a few days of signing up, since all it takes is uploading that roster of phone numbers, 3-click process, and parents can begin receiving their first messages really any point in the year, since it's a program that wraps around all 52 weeks of the year. No training is required for your implementation. You'll have a dedicated Ready for K program success manager just in case to offer any support that you might need, but our partners find it really easy and quick to implement. I'm going to pause there before I talk about the grant, because I know I've just kind of covered a lot at a high level, and just check in and see if anyone had questions right off the bat. Do we have any, Lorena, or should I keep plugging through?
No questions in the chat, so we'll go ahead and continue.
All right. So there is a really exciting grant opportunity that I wanted to tell everyone about today for our partners who serve a high percentage of economically disadvantaged families. So backing up a little bit, Parent Powered, which is the company that makes the Ready for K program, we're a public benefit corporation. So we have a social impact mission, again, to serve all families, very focused on equity and access. And with that in mind, we were able to recently secure some generous philanthropic support to be able to offer our Ready for K programs, any of the 3 that I talked about, at highly subsidized rates to our partners, schools, Head Starts, community-based organizations who serve. We're using an 80% free and reduced price lunch threshold, and I can of course talk more about the details if folks are interested, but the idea is to help schools, districts, provide this program to their families. And the application for this funding, which is called the Equity Grant, takes less than 5 minutes, and partners who apply will receive their grant response within a day or 2 of applying. So if you're thinking it's a grant, a ton of work, it's really not. It takes a few minutes. It's 1 page. It's just filling out the paperwork so that we can provide you these subsidies that we're happy to give so that you can support your families. Next slide. And the next slide is actually just some contact information to talk about next steps. So if you're at all interested in learning more about the Ready for K program, which again is for, I guess, kindergarten through 4th graders in your case, and the costs can be subsidized greatly by our equity grant, would encourage you to reach out to my colleague Kirk at kirk.maxfield@parentpower.com, and that is on the slide, and maybe Lorena, you could pop it in the chat as well. And we can set up a time to get all your questions answered. We're happy to answer questions right now, but if you want to have that individualized chat, that would be a great next step, as well as submitting, if you want to go ahead and submit your equity grant application. I'll have Lorena pop that in the chat as well. No commitment, just to submit the application, just see what kind of subsidy you would be approved for. And we can go from there, and you'll also get to set up a conversation with Kirk if you submit that. So really, either way, we would love to hear from you. And now we would love to hear any questions that have come up.
No questions in the chat currently.
Okay. have folks, I'm curious from you all, if anyone wants to pop into the chat, with family engagement, do folks use digital tools? Are we texting? What are we thinking with family engagement in general? What's it like? See if anyone pops that in. Using your mind, yep. Hear that a lot. Seems like that's working for folks to message families on an ad hoc basis. Great, we got a question from Paulina about translation. So beyond the languages that I'm shared, oh, I forgot, I'm not sharing. If you could go back a couple slides, Monica, to the languages. So I listed those. There is definitely the opportunity, if you want to pay for it, to translate to other languages. We have some great translators that we've worked with in the past that not only translate, but really culturally version the program. And our team loves to be able to expand the access to the program in different languages. So let's definitely talk if you have a language that's not on here, and get you a quote for what we could add to the program for your languages. I'm curious if you want to pop into the chat what languages you might be thinking of. We're always very curious to hear what the needs are. Remind and Skyward, okay.
So I see no questions in the chat. So I want to say thank you for Corinne and Lorena for sharing with us today. And this is an opportunity for those who are interested. Feel free to reach out. If you need their contact information, just let me know, or they might pop it in the chat also. But you do have Kurt Maxfield's his info. So our next thing. So thank you, ladies. Any other shout outs and happenings? You're welcome. No district shares, no shout outs, no questions. All right, we'll give you one. We'll come keep moving. Give you time back, possible. So I just always like to keep you reminder of the resources that we are having. And then so we have our program implementation resource, especially if you're new. That's a great guide to walk you through setting, looking at your program, looking at tools and resources to do that. If you're thinking about next year and what projects you want to use, you got the Texas Performance Standards projects to look at, to check out, to change up, and to look. And then our equity in GT education, that is currently under revision, and hopefully, and our goal is for when you come back to school, we will have the new revised site up and available, and then we'll go over those highlights. And then we have the Teacher Toolkit 1, if you're really looking for research or the how to do it, and then the supplemental pieces that is there. And then Teacher Toolkit 2, really helping our secondary educators to support their program, their AP, IB, adding in that depth and complexity as they go forward. So those resources, you can also find the links on our GT education page as we go forward. I also want to remind you that the Title III Virtual Symposium is happening in July, the 22nd through the 23rd. Feel free to register. If you have not registered so far, they are, we made sure that there were some GT topics covered there. If you are looking to participate in a survey, still has their survey up, and it's about a 10-minute survey about acceleration and teachers' perception of that. So that's the link. Take the opportunity to share. And then before we get back to other Q&A questions, I'm asking if you would take a moment to kind of just tell me how I did this year. And looking at our GT Tuesdays, these sessions that meet your need. Is it something that we need to continue, or should we change it up next year? So if you will take the survey, I would truly appreciate it. I'm putting the link also in the chat. So just trying to make sure that I'm meeting your needs and we're being productive in this world of GT education. And that leads us back to, before we go in and wrap this up, any final questions, final thoughts? Could we, what if, let that creative juice come out, or, like, think about this for next year. So. And then also, if any of my ESC people are on there, if there's any big sessions or something that you would like to share out for the summer that you're doing, feel free to jump on. As you know, I'm not one to hold people. So I try wait time. I'm trying to do better with that one. So as you see, here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me. And then otherwise, I hope that everyone have a great summer, have a great vacation. And if you do not have a planned vacation yet, take one. Take a day or something that is just for you, just to rest, relax, read, do your favorite hobby, do something a little bit different, or just go sit and just watch the water. Do your favorite hobby. I've been quilting. I've been taking my mental breaks. So I want to thank you. I appreciate you. And then we'll take our summer hiatus and then we'll start back up in the fall. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing. And especially for my people who are sharing while they're on vacation. Because I know that I have a peep for you that is just like, I'm coming on. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it, Jessica. Thank you. Yeah, everyone stay safe. Stay, put your sunscreen on. Stay out of the heat and keep hydrated. All right, everyone, have a great vacation, great time, and enjoy your office hours. Bye.